Now, before we get started, I would really love it if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get the latest content from the YouTube channel, The Last Rewind. And don't be shy about leaving your comments at the bottom of the page because you are the sole reason why this channel will be successful. Thank you. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Last Rewind with Big Red. And today we're going to talk about what it means to be the face of the NBA. And some comments made by Anthony Edwards, then via LeBron James, then Stephen A. Smith, and Gilbert Arenas when they were on First Take the other day. It appears Anthony Edwards, who's a very popular player today, is one of the new faces of the league and may be one of the people who will carry the NBA into the next decade or so, does not want to be the face of the league. I think he said he would prefer, or he thinks maybe Victor Wembanyama may be the face of the league. And of course, people have had pushback on it because a lot of American people do not think a foreign-born player can be the face of the league, kind of like Jokic, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. So they look toward Anthony Edwards, who I don't agree with it totally, has gotten comparisons to Michael Jordan. If you want to go through maybe some of his athletic plays, I can see that, but I don't think he has the same charisma Michael had. He certainly doesn't have the same awareness of who his audience is. Let's just say that. So LeBron James chimed in and gave his opinion about it, and Stephen A. responded, and Gilbert Arenas went against what Stephen A. had to say. So let's just play the video and see what they all had to say, and then I'll chime in and give my opinion.
And already said he don't want it.
I know.
Yeah, and say he ain't trying to deal with that. And I mean, Channing Frye said it the other day too. Like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but like, I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, have that responsibility. It's just weird. It's weird energy.
By the way, LeBron James had a lot to do with helping the NBA brand grow as well. We ain't trying to take that away from him. But to sit up there and say, you know what, why would you want to be the face of the league when everybody's talking bleep about you all the damn time? I'm sick and tired of them acting like everybody's talking bleep about them all the damn time. I don't know if you know this, Gilbert. LeBron James is hating on him to say that he's the second greatest player in the history of the sport. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you knew that when you say great father, great husband, great philanthropist, great businessman, great actor, great director, great entrepreneur, great host, great everything. I don't know if you know that because you didn't say he's number one, that he's the GOAT, that's an insult to him and his crew. I don't know if you knew that, Gilbert, but this is the kind of stuff that we're dealing with. So it's just utterly ridiculous. I'm going to let y'all chime in here because I got more to say. But it's just when he said that, it really ticked me off because, again, it's pointing the finger and it's negating to point out there are people here celebrating the game. Any way in which the game has been hurt has not been hurt by the media. And by the way, in today's generation, these dudes think the media is social media. They lump us all in with the same. There's people that don't cover the league. They ain't never covered the league. Ain't never been in a locker room. Ain't never been in a press box or anything. But because they on social media chirping, we get lumped in with them. We don't get into their personal business. Stay out of the police blotters and the whole bit. Do your thing. Go out there and play. We covering the game. It's never enough. And he's not bringing that up. Again, I got more to say, but I'll stop there for now, and I'll give y'all the floor.
Mr. Arenas.
Was he wrong?
He was wrong. He was wrong about some things, yes.
See, I'm from the era where when you introduced a superstar or the stars of the league, it was all positive. I'm 42, right? When you think about 92 Olympics, when you think about the 92 Olympics, you think about fine wine. It's like the 92.
Okay.
When you think about the 2024 Olympics, it's like mums, right? It makes your stomach hurt. That's how it's been. That's how it's been pushed to us. So when you think about the Magic, the Jordan, the Hakeem, the Drexler, the Shaquille O'Neal, you pushed their greatness. You didn't talk about the negative parts of their game to tell them why they're not number one. So when you talk about, is it wrong or you're doing something wrong with LeBron being number 2. No. But you're telling him he's number 2 because of these flaws. You don't
I'm
need
telling him he's number 2 because he ain't Michael Jordan.
That's fine.
That's all.
Just he's not Michael Jordan, but he's LeBron James.
Right.
So treat him like he's LeBron James.
Which is why he's number 2 all time.
You can't be the juror and the judge. You can't make the rules of Michael Jordan's 6 rings, because when Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, he didn't have 6 rings yet. Right? That's what he finished with. But when he was idolized, he only had 1 or 2. So what's happening is you're looking at the resume that you guys put out there, and you're saying, okay, you need 6 rings, right? You got to get the 6 rings. Okay, I got to get the 6 rings. Now I need to make a decision to go here and get these rings because I can't get it here. So now they're sacrificing individual awards to get these rings. Then you say, well, you don't have the individual awards. You can't get no scoring titles. He has 10. He has 10 scoring titles. You can't do that. So he gets penalized there because he doesn't have these accolades. Then what ends up happening is if you have a player that's saying, okay, let me get these scoring titles, you're like, oh, you're selfish. Yeah, you're selfish, yeah. Man, that's pointless stats, meaningless stats. So there's this game that's being played here, that's being created. Then you're judging them off the creation that you created. That's the problem, that you're putting these rules out, and then when they're trying to get to it, you use this and say, you got a little dirt on your game, and you can't be the Messiah. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, Gilbert Arenas, he said a lot of something without saying really anything. He has horrible revisionist history. And I say that because he seems to forget that the NBA players of the past also were talked about in a negative manner. He seems to think that all you should do is talk about the rainbow and sunshine days of today's players. They have negative stuff, and players of yesteryear had negative stuff. For example, I'll go down a list. Magic Johnson, yes, remembered as an NBA legend, 5 championships, but he also lost in the final as well, too. But let's just talk about one of the things that was a knock on him. The one year where he failed to come through in the clutch in the finals versus Boston, his nickname was Tragic Magic, printed in front page newspapers. They talked bad about him. It wasn't all positive, and there were other things that were said bad about him I won't get into. Larry Bird. You want to call him the Great White Hope? Fine, but Bird had a bar fight that he says he was ashamed of till this day. That's a negative publication. He was talked about of not beating Magic a couple of times in the finals and succumbing to injuries or whatnot, and not be able to lift his team up in the same manner he did early in his career. There was newspaper articles about that. It wasn't all just positive stuff. Let's go to the one that I think they're kind of pretty much referring to, Michael Jordan. People forget, of course, Michael Jordan did not win every year in the finals. That's just being honest. Before he won, even though he was put up there in the higher echelon of other NBA players, and some people even say, could he be the greatest player ever? Not everybody, wasn't unanimous, but there were smatterings. There was talk about it. But there was a huge talk after his numerous outing of the playoffs by the Pistons. Can a player, a dynamic scorer as he is or was, can he win the big one? Because it pretty much never happened. I have to look at the stats, but it is very rare for the top number 1 scorer in the league to win a championship. It still holds true to this day. You can look through the stats, and I'm pretty sure most of the people, a high majority of the people who are the leading scorers of the league, do not win championships. I'm not talking about top 5. I'm talking about the number 1 scorer. They don't win championships, and Michael Jordan did it 6 times. One thing that makes him very unique. but he had a big knock on him. It was like, he can't win the big one. He can get you close, but he can't win the big one. Then on top of that, let's not forget, Michael Jordan had to go through the rumors of his gambling. Was he an addict to that? He had to go through the issues he had to go through with his non-political affiliations. Does he give back to the community and stuff like that? All which, that is, so far been proven false. He does give back to the community. He just doesn't make it as loud as everyone else. Kobe Bryant, very much celebrated, but he had a point. He had to go through some turmoil where the Colorado case, I think it was Colorado, with the essay case. That wasn't all positive. Who else? We got Iverson, great player. He had to go through his issues with his off the court stuff. Commissioner David Stern changed like a whole dress up plan for the NBA players, based kind of what Iverson brought to the league and the cornrows and stuff like that. It wasn't all positive. What else we got? For once, the bad boy Pistons. Do I have to say any more about that? They won't talk about positive. So this notion that NBA players of the past were not talked negatively about, they talked about rings back then. The only thing that's the difference between now and then is there's social media. There's no difference. There's a little bit of more debate, I guess, and they stick to one topic. That's probably the most nauseating thing, is they talk about the same people every show instead of talking about other players. So I'll go with that. And that's why it probably feels like there's so many people talking negative about it, because they talk about the same subject every day. They talk about LeBron James every day. So you're bombarded with the same subject every day. You go to this league, it comes with perks. It comes with being worldwide owned. It comes with your brand bringing in more money. It comes with fame. But it also comes with people checking you on everything you do. Michael Jordan had to go through that stuff. Being the face of the league, people question everything he did, good or bad. So that is false, that NBA players of the past did not get talked about in a bad way. They most certainly did. The only difference now is they did not have social media where people of any sorts, race, culture, ethnicity, from any country could respond on your game from the night before. Patently false. That what Gilbert Arenas thinks. So if you want to say nobody should want to be the face because of that, I can get that, because it does come with a lot. Because I'll say this about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was under a microscope, and he had to be more than perfect. This is something LeBron does not have to experience, because this is a different era. Michael Jordan had to be perfect. He had a commercial that said "Be like Mike," which was almost saying like Mike is perfect. Mike does everything right. Mike don't do anything wrong, and that's false. There's no one's perfect. There's no one's not going to do anything wrong. And Mike, if you look at The Last Dance, he would tell you how big of a prisoner he was to his fame. And he almost couldn't wait to retire a couple of times, because he came back a couple of times, retired a couple of times, but it's nothing to sneeze at. So if he doesn't want to do that because of the microscope, Anthony Edwards, that is, of the microscope that's put on the face of the player, then fine. Because Anthony Edwards doesn't seem to understand his demographic. I'm not a person that's against cussing and stuff like that, but if you are working for a company like the NBA, which is a company that advertises to kids and adults, it's a family company, you gotta quit cursing all the time, man. They're cursing, they're fining you because they want the product to look presentable for everybody of any age, and you don't do yourself a service by cursing the way you do, during your press conferences. You can do what you want, but there's consequences that come with it. So, do with that what you may. And Shannon Fry, who seems to be a very big LeBron lover, he had something to say about how the NBA is packaged today and how the fans view it today. Talking about nostalgia. Let me read what he said. Channing Frye, nostalgia is killing the NBA. The 90s basketball era with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant was not as clean as you think. Y'all forget that Jordan left the league for 2 years. Y'all forget that Kobe, rest in peace, quit on his team in the playoffs and refused to shoot the basketball. All this talk about Kobe, Jordan, oh, he's not this, he's not that, is propaganda. Every great player, whether it's Ant, Wemby, LeBron, Steph, whoever gets compared to players from 40 years ago, but the rules weren't even the same back then. You are not really watching help side defense. Who's doing what? What are these rules? Nobody celebrates the new generation of players. So why would anyone want to be the face of the league when every network constantly criticizes them for not being like someone from 40 years ago? It's ridiculous. It's unfair. LeBron is one of the greatest players ever. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players ever. Giannis is one of the greatest. Jokic, same thing. Yet we keep talking about Michael Jordan. Okay. Channing Frye, I don't know what you're talking about. We talk about these players constantly. We talk about LeBron. I just said it. He's always on TV, on ESPN First Take or whatever Fox Sports show. He's always being talked about. And we're talking about from a game-to-game perspective. That wasn't around in the 90s. There wasn't social media around in the 90s, so we could talk about Michael Jordan every game or what he did every day, whatever. So it was kind of unique when we finally did talk about him. But we talk about Steph Curry. We celebrate him as being one of the greatest shooters of all time. What are you talking about? LeBron James, his longevity in the career is unmatched, almost from anybody from any sport, let alone basketball. We talk about that. We talk about him having a scoring record, and the other records he's accrued over time. But you're also going to get broken down to because comparisons are natural. That is what sports is about. Sports is a meritocracy. You compare people all the time. You compare who the best team is every year, and you beat down another team to be seen as number one. So should we not do that anymore? Because that's what sports is. Sports is competitive. Sports is comparing. So what are you talking about? We talk bad about today compared to 40 years ago because it was a golden era of basketball. And it wasn't quite 40 years ago, I wouldn't say. You mentioned Kobe in there, so that wasn't exactly 40 years ago. Kobe has not been gone that long. You saw what the NBA All-Star Game looked like. I hope Channing Frye did. Or maybe he didn't watch it because he was bored because he knew they weren't taking it seriously, unlike the players from 40 years ago. You see how hard and tough and the injuries played, how hard the players played through injuries and sickness, how they played through that 40 years ago compared to today, where they take just days off because they don't want to play a back-to-back. That's why people are fed up with today's players. It has nothing to do because they just don't want to move on and find a new player. We found new players. We found Kobe as the next Mike. We found Shaq as the next great center. We loved Iverson. You think it just changed all of a sudden? We just decided to hate the last 10 years of players? No, it's because y'all love for the game, the appreciation of the fans has dwindled down to almost nothing. So blame today's generation for doing that. Don't blame the consumer. That's been my time on The Last Rewind. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Last Rewind. Y'all have a good day. Peace.